Alrighty everyone, here we are. It is March 4th of 2020, and as we go throughout the first quarter of this year, a lot of fans are very curious of exactly what could have been for The Rise of Skywalker by Disney and Lucasfilm. We do know that this movie went through a lot of changes, a lot of scenes were deleted because of Kathleen Kennedy, etc. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that we do know about Star Wars is that Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over any of the existing Star Wars projects in the early development phase, which honestly really is a good step in the right direction by Disney and Lucasfilm to create a better future for Star Wars. There's no doubt about that. There's really no denying here that there was a backlash because of The Last Jedi and how that had a massive effect on soloist Star Wars stories, box office results, and so on and so forth. It's one of the main reasons, ultimately, as to why The Rise of Skywalker just barely passed $1 billion at the box office worldwide, where in reality, a movie like this really should have made around $2 billion, maybe even more than that, closer to what Avengers Endgame made, because this is a big franchise that has been around for decades. So, with that being said, what's really intriguing about Episode 9 is that, yes, we do know that it was a very tough production. It was a very difficult production for Disney and Lucasfilm, mainly because of Kathleen Kennedy. And what's really intriguing all has to do with writer and director J.J. Abrams of Episode 9. Now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are moving on to their new Star Wars universe, also known as their new Star Wars Expanded Universe, since Disney is trying to find ways to reunite the Star Wars fans after the divide from The Last Jedi. Many are very worried on exactly how Lucasfilm will handle Star Wars as a brand moving forward. However, during and after the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker, many interviews were given to J.J. Abrams about Kathleen Kennedy's leadership over at Lucasfilm for Episode 9 and bringing an end of the Skywalker saga. It's explained that when questioned about production, J.J. Abrams revealed that Kathleen Kennedy wanted to initiate reshoots and rewrites due to some creative differences with the script and the overall structure of the plot. J.J. went on to reveal that Kennedy was the one responsible to actually develop a plan to rush production, as they had far less time to create this film in comparison to The Force Awakens back in 2014 when they were filming. J.J. Abrams also states that Kathleen Kennedy was the one who came up with the idea of Rey becoming both a Palpatine and a Skywalker in the film, and that J.J. Abrams reveals that at first it was quite hard to let that sink in, and that he had to take on the challenge to make it work on film. J.J. also states that Kathleen Kennedy was the one to develop that did not actually want the film to be split into two parts, and that he and Chris Terrio had discussed of such a thing and wished that they could have done that to slow down the pace for developing the movie, and of course that with this film. J.J. felt very rushed from Kathleen Kennedy initiating two phases of reshoots and rewrites, one of which in 2018, the other of which in 2019. So, J.J. Abrams, like I say, I kind of feel for the guy, because at the end of the day, this is a man who really had to take on almost an impossible challenge after The Last Jedi, backlash, and everything that Rian Johnson kind of screwed up in that movie. If you guys like that film, by the way, that's fine, but with that movie, I really did not enjoy it. It did not work well for me at all, and J.J. Abrams, a man who had to really take on the challenge here, to step back on board on the Star Wars franchise and to really just introduce something to the fans that would really be something more so nostalgic and true or authentic, was ultimately changed and kind of manipulated by Kathleen Kennedy. That's the main reason as to why there are so many deleted scenes for this movie, so many changes, why the art book of The Rise of Skywalker was delayed, why the novelization of the film was delayed as well. I think that when we look at everything related to Star Wars, there's a lot of consistency issues because of Kathleen Kennedy. We've seen great examples of this. The thing about Kathleen Kennedy here, by J.J. Abrams, of how J.J. actually went on to reveal that Kennedy was the one responsible to actually develop a plan to rush production, as they actually had way less time in comparison to The Force Awakens principal photography stage, right? That tells us that Disney really did not map out their plan for this movie, and a lot of it, yes, did have to do with how she fired Colin Trevorrow. They had to redo the entire script, redo the entire movie before they wanted to begin filming, back on August 1st of 2018. and it really was quite a big deal. So, like I say, guys, I mean, everything related to Kathleen Kennedy, we've seen great examples of this. You know, we've seen a lot of firings, we've seen a lot of creative differences, and how J.J. Abrams even goes on to reveal that there were creative differences between himself and Kathleen Kennedy at times, and that kind of made things a little bit more difficult to really kind of just flesh out this movie the best that they could really be for Star Wars fans. So, like I say, guys, let me know what you think about everything about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.